I want you to sit down, take a slow breath, and take a moment to think about your own body. Over the years in my practice, I've often told my patients, our heart is like an old friend. If you listen closely, you'll hear it whisper long before it ever cries out. Many people don't notice those whispers. They think getting short of breath climbing the stairs is just being out of shape, that needing an extra pillow at night to breathe is because of a sore back, or that gaining a couple of pounds this week is just from eating more than usual. But sometimes, those ordinary things are really the heart's way of calling for help. I've met many patients, men and women in their 50s and 60s, who came to me only after being rushed to the hospital. When I asked, "Did you notice anything unusual before this?" They often sighed and said, "Yes, doctor, but I thought it was just getting older." One of my patients, Martha, now 67, used to enjoy her morning walks around the park. About 6 months ago, she found herself stopping at the very first corner, out of breath. She told herself it was just age catching up. A few months later, she couldn't lie flat to sleep and needed 2 pillows to breathe comfortably. She still thought it was just a back problem. Until one cold night she woke up gasping, panicked as if drowning. Only then did she go to the hospital. By that time, her heart had already grown much weaker. I want you to imagine this. You bend down to tie your shoes and suddenly realize you need to stop to catch your breath. You climb a staircase you've taken 100 times before, but now you cling to the railing because your chest feels heavy. You notice your feet swell by evening, and the shoes that once fit comfortably now feel tight. These signs aren't loud, but they speak volumes about your heart's condition. I share these stories not to alarm you, but to help you understand that sometimes the quiet, subtle changes are the most important warning bells. Modern medicine has shown that symptoms like shortness of breath with effort, a nighttime dry cough, frequent trips to the bathroom at night, or sudden weight gain from fluid retention often appear months before a person is formally diagnosed with heart failure. Science can give us the number. More than 6 million Americans live with heart failure, yet many of them don't realize there's a problem until it's too late. But I don't want you to remember just the number. I want you to remember the stories, your own, your loved ones, those mornings when you felt more tired than usual and didn't know why. I often ask my patients, do you remember the last time you truly felt healthy? This question usually leaves them quiet for a while. Many realize it's been years since they lived without constant fatigue, shortness of breath, or long, restless nights. Yet they had accepted those feelings as normal. If you're watching this video, I want you to ask yourself, are you overlooking these small, quiet signs? Pay attention to how you breathe when you climb stairs, how you sleep at night, how your body reacts after a meal, or even after a gentle day's work. Your heart cannot shout to warn you. It sends only soft, patient, persistent signals. In more than 30 years of working with patients over 50, I've learned this. The difference between aging well and living with heart disease isn't just in the medicine you take. It's in whether or not you truly listen to your body. And I want to remind you, recognizing these signs early isn't meant to frighten you. It's meant to give you the chance to take control of your life. Heart failure, if caught early, can be treated, slowed down, even improved. But the key is to pause, pay attention, and ask the right questions. So as we begin this journey together to explore the early signs of heart failure in this video, I hope you'll see it as a personal conversation between us, not a dry lecture. I want you to know you're not alone, and that early awareness is truly a gift you can give yourself and the people you love. Let's go deeper together, listening to those small but vital signals of the heart so that we can not only live longer, but live more fully. I want to begin with a story I'll never forget. It's the story of James, a 72-year-old retired carpenter. He used to be strong, walked every morning, loved tending his backyard garden. But gradually, he stopped climbing stairs, then gave up his morning walks because he felt too tired. He thought it was just aging. His wife recalled one night he woke up gasping, sitting on the edge of the bed. She thought he was having a nightmare. In truth, his heart had been quietly crying for help for a long time. I share this story so you can picture it clearly. Heart failure doesn't always arrive like the dramatic heart attacks you see in movies. More often, it comes like an uninvited guest. Slow, quiet, knocking with subtle signs we tend to brush aside. 1. Shortness of breath when lying flat or needing extra pillows. I've seen so many patients who confess they could no longer sleep flat on their backs. At first, they added one extra pillow. A few months later, they had to sleep almost sitting upright just to breathe more easily. That's not normal. When the heart can't pump strongly enough, fluid backs up into the lungs, almost like they're filling with water. Lying down lets that fluid shift upward, making it harder to breathe. I often tell my patients, pay attention to the way you sleep. Your body is teaching you how to breathe more easily, but it's also warning you that you need help. Have you ever needed extra pillows or had to sit up to fall asleep more comfortably? Don't dismiss that detail. 2. Shortness of breath when bending forward. Another sign many people overlook is getting short of breath just by bending forward. We call this bendopnea. I once asked a 65-year-old patient, "Do you ever have to stop to catch your breath when you bend down to tie your shoes?" He gave a shy laugh and said, "Yes, but I thought it was because my belly got bigger." In reality, bending forward increases pressure in the abdomen, pushing against the chest and making an already weak heart work harder. It's a very specific sign of heart failure. If you notice you get short of breath just from bending forward, it's not merely age or weight. It may be your heart sending an alarm. 3. Rapid weight gain over just a few days. Many people think gaining a few pounds in a week is just due to eating, but I want you to remember, fat doesn't accumulate that fast. Another patient of mine, Helen, kept a record of her weight every morning. She noticed she had gained 3 pounds in just 2 days, even though she'd been sticking to her diet. When she came in, we discovered her body was retaining fluid because her heart wasn't pumping effectively. Every pound gained that quickly is actually fluid adding stress on the heart. Weighing yourself daily isn't just about watching your figure. It's a way to protect your heart. 4. Swelling in the legs, ankles, or feet. I remember David, 68, who came to see me because his shoes no longer fit. He said, "Must be from standing too much." But when I gently pressed his ankle, the dent didn't spring back right away. That's swelling, one of the classic signs of heart failure. When the heart pumps weakly, blood pools in the lower limbs. The kidneys respond by holding on to salt and water, causing fluid to leak into soft tissues. The swelling is usually symmetrical and worse by evening. If your familiar shoes suddenly feel tight by the end of the day, don't simply blame age. 5. Fatigue and reduced stamina. I know many people think that after 60, everyone just tires more easily. But there's a difference between normal aging fatigue and the exhaustion caused by a weak heart. A man who once walked 2 miles every morning now can't go more than a few hundred yards without stopping. A woman who loved gardening can only dig for a few minutes before having to sit and catch her breath. When the heart doesn't supply enough blood, muscles don't get enough oxygen and tire quickly. If you notice familiar tasks suddenly feel overwhelming, listen to that signal. 6. Heart palpitations or irregular heartbeat. Many patients tell me, "Doctor, it feels like my heart is trying to jump out of my chest." That's the sensation of skipped beats, pounding, or an irregular rhythm, sometimes atrial fibrillation, a type of arrhythmia that can worsen heart failure. I often advise, if you're lying still yet feel your heart flutter or pound like a tiny bird trapped in your chest, don't ignore it. See your doctor. 7. Waking at night short of breath. One of the most frightening experiences patients describe is waking in the night unable to breathe. I still remember the panic on James's face the first time it happened. He rushed to the window for a gulp of cold night air. It wasn't a nightmare. It was his lungs filling with fluid because his heart couldn't keep up. If this happens repeatedly, it's time to seek urgent medical care. 8. Frequent urination at night. Many people think getting up 3 or 4 times at night to urinate is just aging or drinking too much water. But in fact, when you lie down, fluid that pooled in your legs during the day returns to the bloodstream, making the kidneys work overtime. Some of my patients only realized their heart was involved when we asked about this symptom. They never thought it could be linked to the heart. 9. Poor appetite, bloating, feeling full quickly. Some patients tell me, I can't even finish half a meal before I feel uncomfortably full. That happens because the liver becomes congested and fluid builds up in the abdomen, reducing blood flow to the digestive system. This sign is often overlooked because people assume it's just a stomach issue or aging. 10. Cold hands and feet, bluish lips. Some people complain their hands and feet feel cold even in summer. When the heart weakens, the body prioritizes blood flow to the heart and brain, reducing circulation to the limbs. I often say, cold hands aren't always about the weather. You see, all these signs, from the way you breathe and sleep to how you eat and how your hands and feet feel, are messages from your heart. We often dismiss them as aging or blame work and stress. But the heart doesn't lie. It warns us through the smallest changes in the rhythm of our daily life. I've cared for thousands of patients over 50 and learned this. The difference between those who live well with heart failure and those who end up in the hospital again and again lies in whether they truly listen to their bodies. Modern medicine has drugs and technology, but the patient is always the first to detect the danger, if they're willing to listen. I want to ask you, the one watching this screen, do you remember the last time you climbed a flight of stairs without stopping to catch your breath? Have you ever had to add extra pillows at night or woken up gasping for air? Have you noticed your legs swelling or your weight suddenly rising over just a few days for no clear reason? If you answered yes to any of these, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. It's your heart's way of telling you it's time to see a doctor. What I want you to take away is not fear, but hope. Heart failure today is no longer a death sentence. We have better medicines, more advanced treatments, and most importantly, we can detect it early. I've seen many patients who, by listening to their bodies and seeking care early, return to an active life, still walking every morning, tending their gardens, playing with their grandchildren. And I believe you can too. Looking back on more than 3 decades in medicine, what weighs on me most isn't the severe cases we couldn't save, but the patients who came to me too late. Not because they didn't care about their health, but because they didn't recognize that their hearts had been calling out for help long before. I want you to know this. Your heart never betrays you. It keeps working tirelessly to keep you alive until it's exhausted. The signals I've talked about throughout this video, shortness of breath, swollen legs, sleepless nights sitting upright to breathe, are all your heart's way of pleading for help. And if you're listening to me right now, it likely means you're ready to listen to your body more closely than before. That's already an important first step. I still remember James, the carpenter I mentioned at the start of this video. After his emergency hospitalization for that terrifying nighttime shortness of breath, he decided to change. He began tracking his weight every morning, committed to gentle exercises, adopted healthier eating habits, and never missed a follow-up appointment. Today, though he no longer hikes mountains as he once did, he can still stroll through the park, tend to his little garden, and enjoy quiet afternoons with his grandchildren. That taught both my patients and me a valuable lesson. Early detection doesn't just save lives. It gives us back the precious years to truly enjoy living. I know that many of us, especially as we reach our 50s and 60s, tend to accept the changes in our bodies as just part of getting older. We get used to slowing down, feeling more tired, sleeping less soundly, sometimes getting breathless with effort. But I want you to remember, aging does not have to mean illness. Some changes are natural with age, but others are dangerous warning signs. The wisdom that comes with age is not about accepting everything. It's about knowing how to tell the difference and acting at the right time. I also want to speak to the sons and daughters, the grandchildren watching this alongside their parents and grandparents. Sometimes your loved ones don't recognize or don't want to admit that something is wrong. Pay attention to the small signs. They climb stairs more slowly, they tire more easily, or they mention waking up several times at night to use the bathroom, or that they need to sleep propped up because they can't breathe lying flat. Those observations can be the greatest gift you give them. As I record this video, I'm not speaking only as a doctor. I'm also speaking as a father, a grandfather, a man who has seen many changes in his own body. I understand the feeling of not wanting to bother others, of avoiding doctor visits because you think it's probably just old age. But I also know that real courage at this stage of life isn't suffering in silence. It's having the strength to speak up, to ask questions, to seek help. Before I close, I want to leave you with a question. When was the last time you truly listened to your own body? Take a moment to pause. Listen to your breathing. Listen to your heartbeat. Notice how your body responds at the end of the day. Don't wait until your heart knocks at your door with an emergency. You deserve a healthy, active older age, one where you can stroll with your partner, laugh with your grandchildren, and wake up each morning without that heavy blanket of fatigue. If you notice any of the signs I've shared today, in yourself or someone you love, don't hesitate. Schedule a visit with your doctor. Sometimes, just one early checkup can change the course of your future. And if this story resonates with you, I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever experienced any of these warning signs yourself? Have you seen a loved one go through that struggle? Your story may become a source of comfort and encouragement for many others who are feeling uncertain right now. Don't forget to click like, hit subscribe, and share this video with those you care about. Because knowledge isn't just for keeping ourselves healthy, it's a gift we can share with one another. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this story. I wish you and your family a strong, healthy heart so that you can not only live longer, but live a life that's full of meaning and truly complete.